Phoenix are just like, you know what? You want to pick Storm? That's fine. We'll go ahead and pick ourselves up an Anti-Mage, knowing that going aggressive right now for Team Archon, I feel like it's still too dangerous. Like, you need another really good lane support if you want to try to contest that. Like, Keeper of the Light, we've seen people try to go aggressive against that hero. If you get illuminated, like 2 or 3 heroes get hit by that, you just spend so much regen. And the thing is, Keeper harasses for free because you have Chakra. So as soon as you get to level 2 or 3, your illuminates, you can just throw them all the time. I really think that Team Archon are going to have a hard time trying to pressure lanes. I think what they're going to be looking to do, obviously, is maybe sit a support mid for the Storm for a little while, because Queen versus Storm, the Queen wins, like, pretty hard most of the time, unless there's a huge skill discrepancy. And Omni, okay, so they are like all in on the Storm Spirit. They're like, this is the hero that we need to help carry the game. Repel, fantastic against Anti-Mage because of the Mana Void issue with Storm if you fully commit to a fight, so I definitely get that. Gyrocopter is natural BKB buyer, so he's not going to care too much. He'll probably just go his normal item progression. But for me, Omni Knight is a hero that, it's like, for me, it's good and it's bad. It's good because of the Storm combo. It's obvious that you want to try to go in and go for kills, but Omni Knight kind of suffers in games where the enemy team has high mobility. And guess what? Anti-Mage and Queen both have extremely high mobility, and there's your Demonic Purge for the Repel. It's going to be the last pick out here from MVP Phoenix. They get the Shadow Demon.
And yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Omni Knight as well. I guess there's the combo plays with such like the Tusk. You know, we talk about the Tusk Dazzle potential. I mean, you've got the Tusk Purification potential in the laning stage. If you're going to be able to work together as a pair, there's going to be the potential there. But it's going to be interesting to see what Archon are able to pull out the bag with this lineup against that of MVPs. Because as you said, especially with the Shadow Demon, it looks like they're picking very actively, and it looks to favor them in the draft at least.
I really like MVP Phoenix's lineup, but I like the fact that Archon are doing something a little bit different. We don't get to see Omni a whole lot. Like, it's one of the fewer picked heroes in 6.84. And for the reasons that I mentioned, it's just really hard to pick a team that really suits an Omni, because one of two things need to be in place for Omni to be good. The enemy team has to be pressuring you super hard all the time, in which case Repel and Heal are always useful, right, during those skirmish fights. Or you have a team that's going to 5-man a lot and makes use of the fact that Omni has those spells available, or you need a hero that's very mobile and can jump in. So that's what the Storm is for, right? And that's what the Tusk is for. Those are the two heroes that, like, boom, we're going to start the fight. And then our Omni can throw out his Repel on the Storm before he goes in. Because then you're actually utilizing the spell, instead of kind of just sitting around while heroes are, like, blinking everywhere and you can't really ever hard commit to something, you know? You get kited out a lot as Omni, and that's one of his biggest issues. So I think here, Archon have a nice little way of making it so they can take the fights when they want, but I still think the MVP's lineup, I would probably favor it like 60-40, just from draft.
He was seeing March do pretty much the same trick that he does in the first game, getting himself straight out immediately into the lane, TPing down, and getting those wards out. I mean, and obviously we do see on the Rubik Fogged, he has got those sentries available for dewarding, but is he going to be able to find what's already been popped down by the Clockwork, and is it going to be in time to shut down this offlane for the Clock? I mean, lane-wise, you know, pretty much everything else we're seeing, kind of expected MSS again is going to be on the offlane Tusk. We've got Chad there on the Omni Knight support, Croc on his Storm Spirit, Ush on the Gyro, Fogged on the Rubik, and looking over the side of MVP, nothing too surprising. QO, he's going to be in that mid on the Quap this time, and we're talking about the fact that that was left through the draft. We should pretty much expect to see the Quap have a very good time at the beginning against the Storm.
That's kind of what I'm assuming as well. They could change the lanes a bit. They could send Ush mid if they wanted to.
Okay.
But as of right now, it looks like Chad's doing a little bit of blocking. We will see Korok actually is going mid. Okay. So it's actually a player comfort factor here, as it is, instead of like going, okay, well, I'm mid, so I just always play mid. They're saying Korok is the Storm player on our team, so he's going to go mid instead.
Here we go. He's going to have a little bit of a backup here. And Chad, okay, he's going to head towards, I guess he's going to go towards the top and maybe look to go for a bit of aggression here with MSS if they want to try for this whole kind of Ice Shard Snowball Purification, which, I mean, squishy heroes like the SD, you're going to be able to have a good shot at it. If you can get that Snowball into him, there's no way you can disrupt anything as big as that. And as soon as the stun comes through and the pure damage as well, he's going to get blown up. So it's going to be interesting to see what this combo of heroes can do on this top lane.
Well, it is a bit annoying for an AM because he's not the best hero at trading, at least for a couple of levels. If it's a solo offlaner and you have that mana break, you can just drain the mana of a hero like Tusk or Omni, like no problem. If you're just like one hero hitting him, you probably don't want to trade at all, and that's why Chad just immediately backs up. He doesn't want to trade mana and health for just health, realizing that Nuts is also in the area and has a ton of tangos in a south, if need be. So it seems like based on what MVP have bought, they probably anticipated this lane, because KP started with tangos and he just goes immediately poor mans, and they have a ton of extra regen on top of that, so I think they'll be fine here.
Looking at, okay, so with the dewarding there, side of Archon, we're able to get rid of the Observer Vision. I haven't quite found this Sentry, of course, hidden away there.
Lane.
In the trees. Oh, God damn it.
No, Owen, please.
I was doing all right in the first game.
You were doing
I
really
didn't miss
well.
a single kill. But unfortunately, yeah, first blood there in the mid lane. Going to the Queen of Pain, pretty much as we expected as well. We were talking about the fact that Storm was going to potentially have a pretty nasty time there in the earlier few levels, and indeed QO takes the most of it and gets the kill.
Yeah, it's really nice that MVP are able to get this hero matchup. Like, this is the matchup that you want, and maybe part of the reason why, like, Storm is still very good, but you got to get him past the laning phase. That's the one problem. And again, it seems like the mid might be kind of the downfall here for Archon. Not in terms of just how it's played, but because the hero matchup is just not favored for their mid. And that means that their other two lanes have to do very, very well to compensate. So like bottom lane, they need to make sure that March is zoned out completely, but you say that, and he's already level 3.
Yeah, he's been having a ground odds on the bottom lane. Top lane, KP going for a bit of a walk around. He's got the blink available, so he's not in any kind of trouble. But Chad and MSS continuing to do what they can here to shut down the AM's farm. So far in terms of CS, he's on 9 for 1. You look over to the side of Archon, they have got 14 for 4, so they are certainly slowing down the AM a little bit, but he's not finding nothing up here. He's still finding something with the backup and Nuts on the Shadow Demon.
The other thing, too, that we have to keep in mind is, even if the AM is not farming, they know that their mid is winning. So QO is doing a really good job against Korok. It's 7-2 compared to 14-5 on QO, and he already got a kill. So we're keeping that in mind when we say that even if the AM's farm isn't good in the beginning of the game, he will have a lot of recovery time, because outside of the Storm, who goes on KP? Like, who punishes him during the mid game? It has to be Korok. So if he's not having a good start, how is Korok going to punish the AM?
It's going to be hard, and I mean, we're seeing MSS on this top lane because of the mana break. He is down to pretty much not being able to do anything at all with his skills. He has got that emergency mango available, so maybe he can look for the surprise play. Febby actually wrapping around here, maybe thinking about looking for a courier. The courier is actually going to be kept held in the tree line here, so it's going to be safe for the time being. And yeah, let's ball over here. They've spotted it out, and Febby, he's not going to be able to do anything apart from just be a little bit of a nuisance here, throwing Illuminates in, making the lane a little bit tougher. Korok, and well, there we go with the blast. QO blinking forward here, trying to go for something. It's not got quite enough damage to deal with the Storm Spirit, and now with the TP reaction from Fogged as well. But again, just pressuring this Storm ever so heavily and pretty much crushing the lane at this point.
I mean, making him rotate like that, it also means that March is going to be able to get bottom rune because Fogg's not there to zone out the Clockwork. So March is going to get a haste. He might even be able to do something with this.
Oh, now.
They still have 2 heroes mid. QO's got full mana. I think they go for a kill here.
How far is the crop off 6? Very close. This isn't going to give it to him.
Are they going to wait it out?
Oh, this creep wave will, yeah, maybe. I mean, March has about 15 seconds left on this haste.
Ah, no, okay, he's going to go back. It would have been nice if QO could have got 6, because they definitely could have killed if he had that haste rune and he walks in. Like, Korok's level 4! He's level 4 at 4 minutes. Now, he'll hit 5 in just a second, but he doesn't have boots. He's still being forced to bottle crow a lot. And again, it just seems like Archon are the ones who are reacting to MVP. Archon are never really able to do something that says, hey, you have to do something about us. It's always, oh, MVP are making a move, we got to react. It's all reactionary Dota from them.
I mean, the question is as well, what is the plan with this Tusk and Omni? I mean, they're obviously trying to do what they can to stop KP, but 27 CS, he's pretty much almost doing as well as the Jar. In fact, you pretty much could say he is.
Middle lane.
And indeed, mid lane Q. Oh! Gets the ult out. Will find the kill onto Storm. Fogged. Oh, the Illuminate. He's going to be lucky that he had that salve, because that was nearly him dropping as well. But, I mean, there we have it. Archon, they try and find a kill, but they end up losing the Storm for the Quap before she goes down, and that really wasn't what they were looking for.
Well, on the bright side, Fogg got some experience out of that, and much needed, I might add. He was only like level, like barely 3, maybe even level 2 when that hero went down. So now he's like more than halfway to 5, and the Rubik getting 6 is pretty important for this game. Like, you want to be able to spell seal. Oh my god, that mana burn. Alright, so MSS really can't do much of anything at this point. He's still got that salve and a mango in his inventory. But we can start to see, like KP, he's realizing his limits as we see Korok also kind of getting just harassed more and more in this middle lane. And again, this is what makes MVP so scary, is they know their timings. They realize that Storm is not 6. Why not just throw out a casual Illuminate on mid? Make Korok go back. Don't let him get that level 6 for free. They're just always knowing when they can pressure.
He's incredibly deep here and all on his own. Nuts and KP and the wraparound coming in as well from QO. MSS, he's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's got a mango if he wants to emergency snowball, and he's actually going to go for it there with the mango plays, but I don't know what he's going to achieve with that, apart from just prolonging his death as he goes forward onto QO. QO still finishes him off, and well, that's a mango down and a touchdown as well.
Once again, really nice rotation coming in from MVP, and at this point, Archon didn't have any vision of any of top, as far as I know. They had a ward mid that's freshly placed, and then they had that one ward in bottom that's helping out Ush, but there really haven't been any rotations for March. Like, they don't seem too content on helping the offlaner, and I say that, but March doesn't even need it. He's level 5. Okay, here we go.
They're going to try and go for something here, and it looks like they'll be able to find it, and, well, they certainly needed that. Kill there for the gyrocopter. Mid lane, though, the pressure's being applied by Q. Illuminate flying through as well. This time the Purification, the Repel, they might be able to turn this one around. In comes the Tusk as well with the Snowball, moving on to QO. He's not going to be able to get himself out of that one. They bring down the Queen of Pain as well. And that was a rotation that Archon surely needed, and very well done as well, just keeping everyone alive in the mid lane there thanks to the inclusion of that Omni Knight.
Yeah, finally Archon getting a little bit of footing here in game number 2, making something happen. They get the kill on the bottom lane. They stop March from hitting 6 a little bit sooner, which is good. And they also get a very much needed kill on the Queen, like you mentioned. And even though they had to react pretty heavily for that, I think Chad was already in the area, and then there was a TP in from MSS, but it's well worth it. Like, the Queen is the one who's going to snowball really hard, and if you can stop QO from getting off the ground, just kind of controlling the game, that means that stopping the AM will become easier for you. You don't have to worry about the Queen always being in your face and having to counter gank him, and then just having like KP sitting in the woods and farm. You can just say, okay, well, maybe we can actually formulate a gank on the AM, and it's going to be necessary at this point.
There's a bit of a rotation on this bottom lane now. We're seeing Nuts and Cure hang around here. Level 6 not quite on March. He's going to hit it here with this wave. Looks like the timing wasn't there for the SD and the Quap, as Quap will pick up the rune, head back towards mid. Chad's coming down here to back up his side, and Nuts, he's not going to be able to do anything bottom. Ping's coming out towards the mid lane. QO, he is level 8 though still in Croc. He's at level 7, so he's certainly closing the gap. But as you said, it's never fantastic to play a Storm from behind.
The one thing about Storm, though, is if you get that level 6 and you get your mobility going, you can kind of recover.
Okay, but he's got a mana void here. MSS is so dead. Surely, if he can get it.
Nice
he still gets
blink.
it. Still gets it. The pings are coming out. He's going to go straight for the TP out, and rightfully so.
I actually love how he TP'd to his tower instead of TPing back to base. You know how many players would have just said, I'm going to base right now. But KP's like, nope, I'm fine. I can sit here. Maybe I can even draw a reactionary TP. And his support can come by and get himself.
They're going to find a kill on some Arch here with a missile flying through here. They drop the cooldown, chasing it down with a rocket barrage. They didn't even need the second one there, Ush. He's going to find himself that second kill. So, looking at the last hits at the moment, the gyro is at the top. So that is the one kind of bit of silver lining here for the side of Archon. And if we have a look at the net worth between the heroes at the moment, it is gyro as well at the top of the moment, 4.2k. So it's all going to be kind of on what this gyrocopter can achieve for the team.
I think Gyro he's pretty good mid-game against AM, but I don't think late-game he's that useful, because a lot of his damage is magical, of course, and you have that spell shield, and plus, Gyro doesn't really have good chase potential, so carry versus carry matchup, the Gyrocopter is not really meant to deal with the AM as much as I think the Storm is. And in that sense, Korok's going to need to have a much better game than what he's had so far, because it's almost 10 minutes in, he's got 25 CS. QO is like doubling him in terms of overall farm. And that's even with QO dying twice. So, all in all, there's still a long way to go, I think, before the Storm Spirit, at the very least, is back in this game. But Archon are still having a much smoother early game than I would say than game 1.
QO trying to bully Korok, and, well, we do have on the high ground. Febby was down the Kotl. But Korok's got a lot of backup. We're pretty much seeing MSS and Chad just hanging around this mid lane, waiting for the Quap to overextend, but it's not going to be the case. QO backing up and picking up an Invis rune, heading towards the top lane. KP's going to start to pressure it. Maybe they're going to see if any kind of reaction comes out and see if they can turn on the side of Archon. QO just heading towards the mid now as well. Ush, he's picked up the Ogre Club. Has he got anything else on the Courier? Doesn't look like it at the moment.
Middle. Oh, what a burst.
Missed that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
He instantly killed him. Like, he blinked forward, just ulti scream, just killed Korok basically from full HP. He didn't even get his stick off. Fog? Okay, there's no demonic purge up on Nuts yet, so he's safe.
It's another big, I mean, taking down the Storm Spirit at this point. He's managed to pick up a Robe of the Magi on top of the brown boots, but it's not a lot. You look at QA's farm, he's got 1,800 gold now on top of the treads, the null tally, and the bottles, so he's looking very wealthy indeed on this quad.
I think he maybe goes Orchid this game. It's really nice against Omni and Storm, for obvious reasons. Like, if you blink in, you silence a Storm, and there's no Omni nearby, you just kill him. Oh, QO, gonna take some harass here. But I think Orchid could be the play. If he wants to go for Aghanims, that's pretty good too. Just to keep yourself safe, you know? You have that Aghanims HP. Even if you get jumped on, there's a good chance you just live through the burst.
QO, he double backs it towards the mid lane with the Invis. He's just going to pop it straight away. Doesn't really want to look for much. And you were talking about how MVP favor the dive side. We've certainly been seeing both Nuts and Febby using the jungle to their advantage. I mean, you've got level 7 nearing level 8 on this Kotl, and he's got a point booster already with 700 gold. So it's looking pretty good for this call. He's third on the CS board because of this jungle.
The way that they're controlling the game, because KP now has his treads, he has his perseverance, he doesn't need help in lane anymore. Like, look at him. He just walks up to MSS and just hits him. He's like, fine, you want to be in my lane? I'm going to harass. Both of MVP supports are capable of farming the jungle. They have Shadow Poison on Nuts, and like you already said, Febby's just been farming with Illuminate spam. So their map efficiency right now far outweighs Archon. And that's another issue with picking a hero like Omni Knight, is he doesn't have any way of farming the jungle unless he gets an early soul ring. And unfortunately for Chad, he spent the majority of his early game running around, trying to stop people from dying. And that's what you should do as an Omni. But because, again, their mid matchup is so disfavored, and top lane, AM's already past the point where he's super vulnerable. It just means that MVP have a really smooth transition in this mid game where Archon are pressured to do things, but they're having a very hard time finding an opening.
I mean, I hadn't realized this as well. The fact that he was on the courier when we were looking at Febby, he's pretty much got 3/4 of the Aghanims. This is going to be an incredibly fast Aghanim Scepter on the Kotl, which is going to be ridiculously hard to fight into if you're the side of Archon.
Once it's daytime and they have that, they can just push every single tower. You get 100% heal from the Illuminate during daytime, which means you're healing for 500 every single Illuminate. 500. That's like half of Queen's HP, even though he's got a point booster and he's going for the Aghanim, so he's not going to go Orchid. But I think like this situation is...
Oh, he gets the repel off. It doesn't matter. They even throw down the purge there as well to make sure there's no way that Chad gets out of it. And oh, Chad, he was the victim of a lot of pain and terror coming there from the side of MVP.
I gotta hand it to MVP, man. Like, even though this game is closer in the first 13 minutes than game number 1, because I think in game 1, Archon had already lost almost all their outer 2 towers. It still really feels like there's nothing that Archon have been doing to pressure MVP at all. Like, they've gotten a couple of counter kills, but have they actually forced an issue at all once?
Oh, do they want to fight this? They're sitting in a lot of TPs here, and they managed to catch KP here with the telekinesis. Can they bring him down? Oh, the disruption! Actually can! The blink, is that the right move? KP is going to go down. I don't know if that disruption was the play there. They've lost the AM. They lose the Shadow Demon as well. They are able to deny the tower. Also, their team Archon. And I think he was going to get that blink off there.
Yeah, he definitely would have. I think that disruption killed him, but you know what happens? In the moment you see it and you're like, oh, I got to disrupt him, otherwise he's just going to die. I mean, stuff like that does happen from time to time. So Archon, they're showing a little bit of their color here. They're going to go for the tier 1 in the top lane after getting those 2 nice counter kills. They might go on mid as well.
Oh, Snowball, is he going to be able to connect? No, not by the looks of it. He'll throw out the BMI shards. Isn't going to be able to do anything else after it. He's able to grab himself a haste rune. Top lane, Ush and Chad, looks like they'll be able to take down this tier 1. Fortification comes out, but it doesn't look like any kind of real defense will come out from the side of MVP. And, well, this is kind of what we expected. When they start to use the gyro in the fights, they're going to go well for the side of Archon. I mean, he's top of the net worth board. He's got a completed S and Y on top of the phase boots and Aquila as well. So he's going to be punching pretty efficiently at 15 minutes in. I mean, what do you think about the decision here to go for the S and Y rather than the early BKB?
I think if you have to go BKB, you might not do enough right-click damage. I think that's maybe his thinking here. Because if you go for S and Y, you're really fast, you have good chase potential, you hit relatively hard. I mean, you still hit for 153 damage at 15 minutes. That's not bad. So you can still pressure the AM. You don't have to rely on your Rocket Barrage and your Call Down to do all of your damage for you. And like you mentioned, just having the completed S and Y already, maybe they can start to pressure a bit. But we say that, and Febby's got his Aghanims, man. He's got his Aghanims 15 minutes in.
Wow.
Position 4 Keeper of the Light. Like, this is this is a huge problem. Like, how are they actually going to push? They need to be able to kill Febby, but he's got 1100 health. He's got more farm than Korok.
Yeah.
Okay, so the net worth is like, it's barely leading.
Very close, but that's your mid-storm.
Yeah.
Against your position for keep it alive.
Yeah. I think Archon have maybe put themselves into a situation where they look at a mid matchup and they say, okay, our hero doesn't need to win the lane. He just needs to function during mid game. But sometimes, in order to function mid game, you need to win your lane. Like, you actually just need to have some kind of help. Because Korok gets first blooded, and then he gets killed 2 more times. And he's, to his credit, he's farmed very well, given the circumstances. Like, he's got 85 CS at 16 minutes. It's just such a hard game for him.
I mean, looking at this gang now, they're smoked up.
Yep.
This is QO just picking up the Aghanim Scepter here on the Quap, and he's level 11 as well. So whoever you jump, you're going to be killing. I don't see this going any other way. We'll see if the side of Archon are able to prove me wrong. Chad and Fogged hiding behind the tree line.
They got the vision
here
as well from the Coddle Aghanims.
Oh, man.
They can see Fogged.
There we go. Indeed they can. Hookshot's training, but he's got the blink stolen there. They'll try and chase this one down. Demonic Purge thrown in as well. Fogged, he's going to have the blink in a second. Yes, he gets it off. But no, QO chases him down there. We'll be able to finish him off with that final bit of burst. Pings are coming out. Can they actually do anything to turn this? Chad is there with MSS, but it is just the 2 of them. Do they want to try and fight this one? March throws down the coast. It's going to be the... Oh, there we go there with the ultimate. QO will bring down the Omni Knight. War punch from MSS, but he's snowballing there into 3 of them. They'll throw down the poison onto him, but now Korok, he's turning the fight. He wants to turn this one around. They brought down 2. Now he looks for Q as well. There's going to be a homing missile coming through as well, but it's not going to connect in time to cancel the blink. But they will chase this one down. He's going to have another blink here in a few seconds. Can QO escape this? They're moving in close and personal as well. The missile, it looks like it's just not going to be quick enough. They can't get the Quap. They can't control her. And KP as well, he turned in to have a look in, but he decided, nope, I don't want anything to be a part of this one. Backs himself out of the fight. But again, I've got our hats off to Archon there. They lost a hero, but they do take down the Coddle and they take down the SD as well. So they find something in return. But we're looking at this anti-mage, and you got to say, okay, so this is an AM with the Battle Fury treads complete now. What can you do to stop this man from farming?
This was also a dual offlane from Archon. So Chad spent a pretty good amount of his early game sitting top with MSS, just trying to pressure the AM lane, right? Like, Chad was just running at him, just like, okay, don't farm, don't farm. And that also means that MSS actually has a lot of farm. He's level 9, he's got 2200 gold in Arcanes. So if he wants to go for Guardians, he can do that. If he wants to go for like something else, like maybe Shadow Blade for a little bit more damage, he can do that too.
Oh, QO goes straight for there onto Grok. Trying to scare him off. He's got that ultimate available again.
Okay.
Blink Tusk, I guess it's kind of what the defensive in terms of getting in there, saving heroes, maybe from the Sonic Wave, maybe from the ultimate from Quap if you've got the timing right, getting them in the snowball.
You can do a lot of stuff. You can blink into cogs, put somebody in a snowball to keep them safe.
Yeah.
You can snowball and then blink away as like an escape defensive mechanism. You can blink in and punch somebody to try to get a hard initiation. There's a lot of good plays that you can do with Tusk when you have blink daggers, so I do like the pickup. The one thing about it is their damage output is kind of lacking. Like, we saw the fact that they couldn't kill the Queen of Pain. Like, there was no way they had enough damage to chase QO. So they're going to need like a Storm initiation or a Tusk jump into like a heal, and then Rubik and Gyro are going to have to follow it up. Like, they need everything, all of their damage to be able to kill.
Krok, TV into the mid lane here, trying to find this farm for the lane that's being pushed in by QO. Ping's coming out as well, but he has no backup at all. In fact, Archon, they're kind of hanging around here as a 4-man in their own jungle, and they do need to make some kind of movement because it doesn't feel like they're achieving that much being grouped up as 4 here.
Well, being grouped right now is kind of just because MVP have a tendency to play very aggressive, and they just want it. They want to continue looking for the fights, right? And if you look at the map, they have pretty limited vision on the side of Archon. Like, they have a bottom rune ward, and that's about it. So now Archon, they're going for the smoke. I guess they're looking for the AM.
So let's see if they can control. They've got the telekinesis. They do have that blink snowball as well, of course, from MSS. What has been popped down, but AM, well, his spider senses are tingling. He's going to continue to farm here. I mean, can they control and catch KP here? They just need to look around the corner. Oh, he's blinked forward. Oh, that's not the play from KP. It looks like Archon have managed to outplay the anti-mage there, and they catch him out. And, I mean, that's a big kill there. Fair bit of money going to the Tuscan. Being able to take down the AM is exactly what you need to be doing once he gets his Battle Fury online.
Getting him off the map is fantastic. He did manage to buy most of his Vlads before he died. I think he just needs the recipe.